Back now on Newsmax Prime with an item you may have missed during the holidays. The Obama administration moving full steam ahead to increase the number of foreign workers going after jobs here in the United States. The president using executive action to increase the number of visas granted to foreign-born college students. Even though millions of Americans are underemployed or just flat out unemployed and perhaps have quit looking for work. So with this new regulation and this executive in-run, if you will, what will this mean for American workers? For more, let's welcome in via Skype from Summit, New Jersey, John Miano. He's a fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, and John is also the co-author of Sold Out, a book that he wrote with Michelle Malkin. John, we appreciate your time here on Newsmax Prime. When I heard about this and the fact that it was a rule that went into the Federal Register the last day of 2015, I said, oh, here they go again with another executive end run. But tell us what it means to Americans looking for work.
Well, what this is another mechanism of getting more foreign labor into the U.S. market. What they've done is, someone has a long history, is that we limit the number of green cards that each country can get. So you have people from India are essentially limited to about 10,000 employment-based green cards a year. But then we let 80,000 or so people from India get H-1B visas and apply for those green cards, so you get a backlog. Then Congress allowed those people who get in that backlog to stay until they get a green card, which makes the backlog even longer. So this method here, what they're trying to do is say, okay, well, you're in the backlog now. We'll just give you something that's like a green card where you can work, but you don't really have a green card. So it's a mechanism.
It just seems to me, John, it is such a mechanism for more abuse of our immigration system, quite frankly, and continuing to abuse American workers. We just heard hearings on Capitol Hill where DHS could not confirm the number of people who have overstayed their visas. So why on earth pour gasoline on already a blazing fire?
Well, the problem is too many people profit from this system. You know, lawyers make money off of it. Employers make money with more access to cheap labor, and they're the ones with the influence. American workers don't have much influence in Washington. Well,
mindful of that, and the fact that this is an election year, is this why Donald Trump has really caught fire and people like Jeff Sessions in the Senate have been talking about this, saying who is speaking for the American worker? Will Americans show up? And I know you're not here to prognosticate politically, but will all this insistence by the elites, whether the left looking for cheap votes or the so-called right working for cheap labor, will it bring the forgotten Americans out to the polls, you think?
Well, I certainly hope so. And you know, what we see here is that Jeb Bush enthusiastically supports replacing Americans with foreign workers. Okay, Marco Rubio has sponsored 2 bills to replace Americans with foreign workers. Hillary Clinton has helped foreign companies replace Americans with foreign workers. And then Donald Trump comes out and says, I don't think we should replace Americans with foreign workers. And Donald Trump is leading in the polls, and the pundits are shocked at this.
Yeah, it is as if we have seen, John, the elites for the last 2 decades. You have this book now, Sold Out. I wrote a book 10 years ago, Whatever It Takes, during my days in Congress, saying, listen, border security is national security and ultimately economic security, but the elites steadfastly have not listened to the American people. So I guess the question becomes, since they played fast and loose with visa overstays, is it reasonable to expect that we will see massive voter fraud, non-citizens show up at the polls to exercise a franchise to which they should not be entitled?
Well, that's entirely likely when we allow people, non-citizens, to get driver's licenses, and then we have motor voter where you can register when you get a driver's license. I would expect that there are going to be a lot of non-citizens voting in the next election.
We got about 45 seconds. I want to go back to the H-1B visas. As I recall from my days on Capitol Hill, that was the highly technical thing where we brought in people with some talent. And man, Silicon Valley would really work this, saying we need these people. In your estimation, John, in the 45 seconds that remain, is that true?
Oh, that's not true at all. And in fact, these are actually very low-skilled people, according to the employers. This is a method of bringing in large volumes of cheap, low-skilled foreign workers who are ideal for billing by the hour when you have a government contract like the Obamacare website where you can milk the government forever. You don't need talented people for something like that.
It would be funny were it not so tragic. And seeing elements of both the so-called right and definitely the left trying to exploit this at ultimate cost to our national security and to our economic security. John Miano, we thank you, sir. Again, John, the co-author of the book, Sold Out: How High-Tech Billionaires and Bipartisan Beltway Crap Weasels Are Screwing America's Best and Brightest Workers. You got to love that subtitle, huh? There's more ahead as we continue. Stay tuned.